We spoke a little bit afterwards. Despite all of the things that happened with the game, despite what we think is good call, bad call, right call, wrong call, those are all part of the game of basketball, and we understand that. But what we did say, and I said to this team, was I'm extremely proud of the way that they competed and represented the Orlando Magic all year.
It's 73 degrees at 9 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Second down, 13. At the 45 of Baltimore. Brunell back in the pocket. Has a bit of time now being chased. Plants throws. He's looking downfield. He's got a receiver. And it is caught. Jimmy Smith at the 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Wayne Starks for 45 yards.
Barks out for signals, drops to throw. Has time, fires the slant. Jimmy's got it this time. 35, 30, middle of the field, 20. He's going to the 20-yard line. He's going to score. 10, 5, Jimmy Smith, touchdown. And the Jaguars are right back in this ball game. Barks out the signals, pressure coming. Steps up, steps, turns, throws. He's got Jimmy. First down, 20. There he goes. 10, 5, touchdown, win. Jacksonville. Done under pressure. Steps to avoid, turns and throws. He's got him in. Caught Jimmy inside the 40-yard line to the 37 and down to the 36.
That is now his 800th career reception, and what a play to get it on.
This team winning right now, it helps bring so much attention to our franchise, what we did back in the day, like we were talking about, these Hall of Fame conversations. But when we're winning, we see the conversations pick up. So we have noticed that. So obviously, I'm pulling for my team to get to this Super Bowl.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith,
my buddy Gene Frenette of the Florida Times-Union,
and Dylan Denmark.
Man, you know you've made it, Tony. When Hacker introduces you on this show, you have made it. Your career in sports has come to its pinnacle. It's a special day. I'm very serious about this. I mean, it's with 100% respect. Gene Frenette's been a legend covering this town sports for longer than anybody, man. And we got him today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith. Good morning, Dylan Denmark. How are you?
Doing great.
All right, excellent. You got a gift. You didn't even know you're going to get a gift bag of golf balls from Gene Frenette this morning, did you? How about
I did
that?
not. I was expecting nothing. I got something.
This guy and the legend, Gene Frenette, Florida Times-Union. Gene was today. First of all, good morning. How are you? Good to see you.
Doing well, thank you.
Way overdue. Now that you're about to retire, come on in and join us on the show, right? Like, you were my first guest ever on Jacksonville Afternoon Drive Radio. I had a show on Saturday morning, a couple different shows on Saturdays. But when I started back on 9:30, you literally came on my very first show.
What year would this have been?
Oh, good night. 2003, maybe? Okay. Something like that. So thank you for that. I hope you're not our last. But in all seriousness, did word get out? Like, I knew you told me this weekend this was it for you. You're hanging them up, retirement. I guess tomorrow's your official day. You're going to file that column that'll run this weekend, right?
I've already filed my farewell column. I got to finish up my notes column for Saturday.
Okay.
I've done most of it, and I've got to go home today and tidy it up a little bit, and then that'll be. Then when I push that send button, then it'll be over.
Has it hit you? What it's going to be like?
No, it's too early.
Yeah.
I think like anything else, when there's a transition in life, whether it's retirement or sometimes, God forbid somebody losing a loved one or something like that, it takes time, right? It probably won't hit you until 3-4 months down the road about what it's really going to be like, right? Everybody who is retired has told me you're going to love it. So I hope that's true.
Now, you brought us in some golf balls. I'm taking it you probably live on a course. Is that correct?
I live near a course, and I walk the yards on Tuesday when it's closed, just to because I walk 5 miles every day, and just to have a different place to walk on Tuesday. And I just look for golf balls. I mean, it's something
They're
to do.
out there, man. It's like an Easter egg hunt, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
It's one of the gifts of playing golf or being right. You're like, oh, look at this. I'm having a bad day, but I got a brand new Titleist on.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So, I mean, who comes bearing gifts to the studio other than this guy? So that was very nice of you. Do you play golf at all?
Yeah, I don't play as often as I would like. I would hope to play a little bit more in return. I'd like to play probably about once a week.
Okay.
I could.
That's a great goal, man.
I could see myself doing that.
50 rounds a year. Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, 2 or 3 times a week. I think my wife would say, maybe that may be a little much.
I don't know. Yeah,
and I don't like playing on weekends. I only like playing on weekdays.
Okay, that's fair. I love playing on weekdays, brother. Call me up. You know, I got some free afternoons right here. But I don't know what your like routine is and everything, but maybe after a few weeks of retirement, your wife will encourage you to play more golf. I don't know, Tony. It's possible that let's get him out of the house.
That seems to have been. I've been watching. My dad retired about 3 years ago, and my mom. Every time that I would go visit, I could almost see it. It's like he's always here. Like I can
what am I
almost
gonna
see,
do?
She's like he's finding a lot to do, but he's always here. I don't have any of my time. I've had all my time for a while now. Now it's all we time. Need my time back. So keep it in mind, Gene. Every now and then, it's okay for everyone to be on their own a little bit.
That's right.
Oh, listen, that's never been a problem for me and my wife, but now I know that she's got this honey-do list waiting. We've got 2 bathrooms and a kitchen that we want to, remodel a little bit here this year. Now, I'm not going to be doing the work, obviously, but but there will be, I would imagine, side jobs that are somehow attached to that.
Of course.
And listen, I mean, there is to be perfectly serious, there's a very selfish, me first mindset that goes with the career that I've had, right? And I'm not, and a lot of times, it's not something I'm always proud of, right? But sometimes even when you're home, mentally, you're not really home because you're always thinking about, what have I got to do next week? And, one of the greatest things I will look forward to in retirement is when I go to bed at night, I'm no longer thinking, okay, what am I writing for next Wednesday? Okay, what's going to be the column angle for that? And it's hard to get that out of your headspace when you've been doing it for so long.
How tough is it to get it in your head, like to come up with a different angle for each week? Was that a challenge, or do they just kind of present themselves?
It's both. I mean, sometimes it just falls in your lap, right? And other times it's it's a little bit more of a struggle. I mean, listen, by the middle of the third quarter of most Jaguars games, I'm going, okay, you're not sure yet, right? A lot of times it depends. Okay, are they winning the game? Are they losing the game, right? Unfortunately, they've played so poorly in game deciding moments, right, in the last few years that it hasn't quite gone that way. In fact, I had one Jaguars insider who has known about my retirement for a few months. I remember he told me this, and this was after the whole changes came down and Shad made all these changes. And he says to me, if we win the Super Bowl next year, then everybody will know it was the Gene Frenette curse.
There's something to it, brother. And guess what? Jaguar fans would hold you up as a football god for years if they made that connection. Trust me, if they win the Super Bowl this year, Gene, they'll celebrate you every single year and you're
for leaving.
But look, in all seriousness, man, 44 years doing anything is a lot, and it's quite an accomplishment for you to be, as ingrained in the fabric of Jacksonville sports as you've been for all that time. So,
if you would have told me in 1981 that I would stay in Jacksonville more than 2 or 3 years, I would have said you're nuts. I'm just being honest. When I got here,
where'd you come from originally?
I'm originally from Vermont.
Okay,
and I came to Florida 6 weeks after college. I got a job at a newspaper in Fort Pierce. I happened to have an uncle who had a home there, and I applied there on a lark, and they happened to have an opening. I got the job, so I was there for a year and a half, and then I went was the prep writer for the West Palm Beach evening paper for a year and a half after that, and Jacksonville called me and offered me to do the same job for $70 more a week, so I took it.
Yeah,
and like I said, I loved the job. Wasn't crazy about the city. Everything was such a far drive away. And as I told Tony earlier, I didn't like the idea of having to drop a quarter every time I went over a bridge. You know, it just seemed like, gosh, every time.
Plenty of
They got a few
bridges.
bridges
Yeah.
now.
And so I'm grateful to the late Tommy Hazouri for getting rid of those things. But, Jacksonville just grew on me. I mean, as I've written in my farewell column, the TU promoted me 3 times during the 80s. Then at the end of the 80s, I met my wife. And then, we get married and you start raising a family here. And, Jacksonville just, quite frankly, it really grew on me. And, and then the Jaguars come along. So now you have more sports to cover and a fantastic, godsend, right, to have an NFL team drop in your hometown. Listen, I know they've done a lot of losing over the years, but I'm just telling you, and I know there's a lot of people that sometimes resent all the taxpayer money that goes to helping the Jaguars and all this, but I'm just telling you, you are better off having an NFL team than losing one. All you got to do is lose one. Ask Baltimore, ask Cleveland, ask cities like that have lost teams. Sure. Now, granted, it's great for them that they got them back, but that feeling of when you lose a team, it's a pretty big gut punch.
We said it, Tony, all in the lead up with the stadium discussions going on. Bad football beats no football.
Yeah.
100 out of 100 times.
St. Louis hasn't gotten theirs back. I don't even know what I would do if I was someone living in Oakland right now and watching everything flee, basically from the city. You've had major sports in the city for a long time, and now they're all gone. As a fan growing up in that area, I don't know what I would do, with all that kind of stuff going on. Fortunately, Jaguars fans don't have to deal with that. For the next 30 years, they're going to be here. We know that they're going to be here, Gene. Now, you've been in the booth. We know the rules with media in the booth. You can't cheer. Is the Frenette household going to be cheering for the Jaguars on Sundays in the upcoming season?
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah, I would say that that's true. I've been so conditioned to being, particularly as a columnist, to trying to stay neutral on things. I don't emotionally get caught up in whether the Jaguars win or lose games, because win or lose, I still have a job to do. Mm-hmm. You still have to, get your thoughts together. I've always said that the pendulum of praise and criticism swings both ways. And, when I feel like when somebody deserves to be praised, then you praise them. And when criticism is warranted, then you got to bring the hammer down. And so, I've unfortunately for the Jaguars, I've had to bring the hammer down more on them than I've had the occasion to praise them. But you know what? That's sports, right? I mean, it doesn't matter which team you. I mean, personally, I grew up rooting for the New York Yankees, the Montreal Canadiens.
Sherry Pickert. Yes, the Lakers
and strangely enough, Celtics. Okay. Strangely enough, I also grew up rooting for in college football. I grew up rooting for Southern Cal. Just watched. I remember seeing there was a black quarterback at Southern Cal in 1968 by the name of Jimmy Jones, who wasn't very accurate, but he had the most rifle arm you ever saw on any quarterback. And I watched him beat Indiana, of all teams, in the Rose Bowl. And I just started following USC.
That's my guy.
Yeah. So you in a neighborhood in Vermont where 50% of the people are Red Sox fans, 50% are Yankee fans, and everybody just about was a Notre Dame fan. So I with USC and Notre Dame and all that. But once I started getting into the business at 16, the guy who brought me into the business, who happened to be my last Little League baseball coach after my dad got out, he happened to be a sports writer, and he took me along with him to cover games, and I kept stats for him. And he always talked about the importance of, staying neutral in games, that not rooting for teams. Just, you're there to cover a game. You're not there to get caught up in whether your team wins or loses. But I will say this, granted, when your team is winning, there's more interest in your team. There's more clicks and all that stuff. So there's more media interest. So from that standpoint, but when the Jaguars win, I am not happy for me at all. I'm happy for the people who are emotionally invested in them, whether it's fans, team employees, what have you. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I'm probably more emotionally invested than you are, certainly, but I feel the same way. It's more about, like, I own them to win the Super Bowl, not so I can celebrate it as much as I want the parade for the people of
celebrate.
Duval, you know? So Gene's an actual journalist. We're sports talk radio guys, Tony. There is rooting that goes on in this room, I'll tell you that. And so today we have Gene Frenette here with us, and we're going to talk plenty of Jaguar football, current Jaguar football. Pick your brain over all the many years you've covered them from their inception. If you have a question for Gene about any aspect of his career covering sports here in Jacksonville, we'd love to hear from you in a variety of ways today. You can get on the phone lines. Presented by Checkmate Coatings at 641-1010. Same number for the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can post thoughts, memories of, Gene's coverage. If you've got a particular question, whatever, we'll pass those along to him. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat if you'd like, or on social media this morning at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at Gene Frenette, and at 1010XL Denmark.
The P word, playoffs.
P-word playoffs. Will we make the playoffs? We'll pick Gene Frenette's brain on that and other salient Jacksonville-related topics. We've got a sports writing legend here in Jacksonville with us in studio. Gene Frenette in his final week at the Florida Times-Union before his well-deserved retirement. Going to spend the next couple of hours here with us. This is Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy Sandwiches, Dandy Subs, tell you about them just about every single day, not just sandwiches and subs. You know that by now. The Thompson family created Dandy with a simple concept back about 70 years ago. We'll provide sandwiches and subs made with the highest quality ingredients, always deliver them fresh, keep the prices reasonable, and they've continued to do that to this very day. The only thing they haven't done is keep that menu small. It has expanded to include so many different options, full line of breakfast items, protein packs, veggie trays, fruit cups, breakfast sliders, light lunchtime wraps, gourmet salads, you name it. I can't name them all. Go into an area gate station, head to the fresh case. You're probably going to see at least 30 different varieties of Dandy options for you. Pick out the one that suits your taste and be on your way, because that's how they roll. Quick, easy, convenient, and delicious. When you're hungry in Duval, Dandy is absolutely the local name to know. So do what I do when you are. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service.
I never knew a man so modest.
Dan Hicken.
I don't know how to put this, but
mornings.
I'm kind of a big deal.
With Jeff Prosser.
Really?
On The Drill.
People know me.
On 1010XL.
Attention Florida homeowners, for 1 month only. Save big with Renewal by Anderson. Get $300 off every window and $825 off all patio doors. Plus, call now and ask about our brand new Ensemble entry door system. But hurry, this limited time offer won't last. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com today to schedule your free design consultation. That's bestwindowsflorida.com. Renewal by Anderson, your trusted window and door experts. Superior products, exceptional service. License number CGC 1527613.
The Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa is the perfect place for indulging in a pampering spa treatment. This Mother's Day season, give the gift of wellness with a gift card and take advantage of the spa's current promotion. Buy a $75 gift card or more and guests get a credit towards a future service. With healing massages, revitalizing facial treatments, and more, a day at the Sawgrass Spa makes a perfect gift for everyone. Purchase in person at Sawgrass Spa during operating hours.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today. 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
Meet our newest players. 1010XL Draft Profiles are brought to you by Wicca Candle Bar.
If speed was a need in Jacksonville, they revved up their engines when selecting Bashal Tootin in day 3 of the draft from Virginia Tech. Tootin ran a 4.340 at the combine, which would be marked as the fastest amongst the class. Many awe at his explosiveness despite his frame, as well as his potential to become a starting caliber running back with 3-down value.
Take a radio boat ride with Captain Cabin on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Wheeled in by the Pest Bros at Royal Pest Services and awaken 180 weight loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Fantastic news here. Due to overwhelming response, Beers Diamonds extending their amazing earring and bracelet sale for Mother's Day. Picking here. So now through Mother's Day, you can still save up to 40% off diamond earrings and diamond tennis bracelets. It's Beers' most ambitious offer ever, and response has been incredible. The corporate-owned big box stores can't touch these prices. Beers, locally owned, man. Say hi to the Lupos when you go over there. The freedom to give you pricing you deserve. Highest quality diamond jewelry. Celebrate the mothers in your life with something they'll appreciate for decades to come. They also have special pricing on other Mother Day favorites, including colored gemstones, pearls, pendants, and fashion jewelry. Beards Diamonds, your destination for making this Mother's Day truly special. Don't miss Beards Diamonds' biggest sale ever. Up to 40% off Beards' already beatable value price. Now through Mother's Day at the Town Center. Only locally owned jeweler. It's Beards Diamonds.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women. With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, I'm going to officially consider this Gene Frenette's walk-up music right here. Everyone gets it. D-Rock got Spandau Ballet, brother. So, I feel like Big Shot by Billy Joel is strong, good, nice, hard-rocking intro right there. And Dylan, of course, asked Gene what he likes, and that's the first name that came out of his mouth, Billy Joel. So, ever see him in concert?
4 times.
4 times, okay. Yep. I would assume you probably had.
Yeah. I've never seen him at Madison Square Garden. That I wouldn't mind doing.
Bucket list.
Yeah.
Does he still do many concerts?
Yeah, he still tours a little bit. Not as much.
Okay.
Not. I don't think he does it quite as much as he used to. And I think for his remaining career, I would think whatever concerts he does is going to be in the Northeast. He's not going to be going all over. He's not going to go all over anymore. I don't think.
When you were getting your first job with Florida Times Union, I was sending in my penny to the Columbia House Record and Tape Club in 7th grade to get a bunch of Billy Joel cassettes back in the day. So do you remember the Columbia Record and Tape Club?
I do, but I think your timeline is a little bit off. I find it hard to believe that you were in 7th grade when I came here in 81.
81, I graduated high school in 86. So
oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So
man, I see you're older than I thought you were then. Okay.
Thank you. Somebody called me 40 the other day, Tone. I was like, "Do you want to get married?" Nah. God bless you. All right, let's talk. We'll get back because we have a lot of questions coming in about some of your favorite memories, things you covered, different events that stand out to you over time. But let's get your thoughts on the present-day Jacksonville Jaguars. First of all, just an overview of the overhaul that they did coaching staff, front office, Baselli, executive vice president. It was in fits and starts that they got there, but what is having seen it in action now for a couple of months, what is your impression of the team that Shad Khan has put together?
I am cautiously optimistic for the Jaguars that Shad Khan has finally gotten the coach-GM combination right. Cautiously optimistic because, listen, they've only been on the job 3 months.
Right.
So
none of these guys have played it down.
Yeah, they haven't even been on the grass yet, as Liam Cohen says. But no, I just, I like the fact that Shad Khan tried something different for a change. I mean, he has been so reluctant to clean house during his time with the Jaguars, except after that first year when Mike Mularkey and Gene Smith went out the door, right? It's been keeps status quo. He was incredibly patient to a fault in many instances. And I think that, having Cohen, offensive guy who has shown some pretty creative, what he did with the Buccaneers last year was pretty darn creative in terms of the balance he created on an offense, what he's done for Baker Mayfield. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going into his 5th year now. It's time for him to start showing why the Jaguars made him the number 1 overall draft pick. And this is I don't mean this in any way disrespectful at all, but Trevor Lawrence has been given more forgiveness for not living up to his potential than any Jaguars player in history, in my opinion. And some of that is the Jaguars not putting enough good pieces around him. Sure. Some of it is his injury, right? That has, derailed a chance to fulfill his potential.
From the fan base's angle on that they'd been through, Gabbert, top, trade up in the first round, Bortles, top 3 picks, so many failures. Here was a guy that from his freshman year in college, if you didn't know this story about high school, from his freshman year in college, you're like, wow, this guy's the future number 1 overall pick. And it turned out to be the case. And if he doesn't work, then who will, right? Almost like this guy has to work. And I feel like that gives him a little bit more grace among certain fans.
Yes, there is an element of truth to that. But other number 1 overall picks who haven't lived up to their high, and obviously not living up to something, there are different degrees of that, right? There's the ones that's the total bust, and then there's the one that, shows snippets and flashes of being that number 1 guy. And Trevor certainly has done that in his time, particularly in 2022. But when you're number 1, the expectation is that you are going to be a perennial Pro Bowl player. That's the expectation for a number 1 overall pick.
Don't disagree.
And I just think that now part of it is, terrible start with the rookie year with the whole Urban Meyer fiasco. I think everybody gives him appropriate grace on that one, right? But you did have 3 consecutive years with Doug Peterson, okay? And for reasons ranging from injury to a little bit mid-level accuracy on the 10 to 18-yard throws, things like that, to things around him, particularly with the defense last year. Just I cannot begin to give you a level of word of how disappointing that unit was last year, maybe more so than any unit in the history of the Jaguars. I just never dreamed that they would be as atrocious as they were. And they were relatively healthy. Unlike the offense, which lost some very key weapons, the defense stayed relatively healthy. They just never got on the same page from the get-go, and I'm really surprised that Nielsen did not work out the way they did. I thought he was going to be an upgrade for that defense, and it was just the opposite.
You mentioned the word optimism, and I think it's the right kind of word, right? For all the newness in the building, they are changing head coach, GM, Tony Baselli's brought in, and they make the trade to go get Travis Hunter. Did the team being willing to move up to draft Travis Hunter give you a moment of pause? Just thinking how fun it would be to cover the league's first potentially true two-way player in 50 years and what that could mean for Jacksonville going forward.
Oh, yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, listen, the for now, it's just buzz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And come fall, it's going to be, what is the entertainment factor going to be like? How much are the Jaguars going to use this guy on offense versus defense and vice versa? Personally, I think for game planning purposes, it would be much easier for him to be a full-time cornerback, part-time receiver. However, listen, the Jaguars have lost a lot of receiving weapons here. And you lose Evan Ingram, you lose Christian Kirk. You got to somehow make up for it somehow.
And let's be fair, they didn't lose them; they chose to have them depart.
That is correct. But you still got to make up for that.
Absolutely,
for that production. And I mean, it's fantastic what Brian Thomas Jr. has turned out to be, right? I mean, you trade down twice for a receiver that ends up being the most productive rookie receiver in his class, and now you're gonna pair him with Travis Hunter. It seems like that the first priority is going to be putting him on offense. I mean, from an entertainment standpoint, if you're a Jaguars fan who's kind of like on the fence about buying season tickets, getting a Travis Hunter is one of those deals that could push you over the top and say, yeah, I'm in.
The marketing department is doing backflips right now. Are you kidding me? All right, more with Gene Frenette coming up. This one quickly on Twitter from Trevorville. Gene, in your view, was Miles Jack down?
I'm going to be perfectly honest on this, they may not like the answer. He was not down, but in that moment, that was one of the most brutally hard calls to make. And everybody saw it on replay, but y'all always remember this. Tony Romo got fooled on that play. Mm-hmm. He thought Miles Jack was down until he saw the replay, and he went, him and Nance kind of went, oh, wow. So what I'm saying is that it's easy to criticize it once you see the replay, say, oh, man, they really hosed the Jaguars on that one. But in the moment, making that call, it was a lot more difficult. And I could see how an official, in a spur of a moment, could think that he was down.
Dylan, clip that to where Gene just said, yes, he was not down. And just cut it right there. And we'll post that later on Twitter. Hey, we didn't ask you to come in here and snow us. We asked you to come in here and give us your learned opinions after 44 years on various beats here in Jacksonville. Our conversation with Gene Frenette will continue talking Jaguar football and more. You're welcome to get on board at 641-1010 or keep bringing these questions in. We've got more serious ones than that, although that's pretty serious for some Jaguar fans on social media and the text line as well. With Gene Frenette in studio, you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Duval till we die, all the damn time.
All over the game. Duval!
1010XL.
Hey there, Jacksonville. With scorching temperatures just around the corner, it's crucial to ensure your AC is blowing nice and cool. Duck Duck Air Conditioning is here to keep you comfortable all summer long. But don't wait until the heat gets here. Our service techs are ready right now to handle any cooling issues you may have at your home or business. Call Duck Duck AC today at 904-862-6769 to schedule. That's 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Online at duckduckac.com.
Hacker here with an opportunity. Drop 40 pounds by the 4th. You can do it. I dropped my first 40 in 6 weeks. Hayes did it, Dempsey, Ballou, and thousands of others have done it. 40 by the 4th with Awaken180weightloss.com.
Friendly competition meets great futures. It's the Birdies and Bounces Tournament presented by the Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation Friday, May 9th at the Yards. Where else can a pickleball tournament, 15 holes of golf, food, fun, beverages, raffles, and great activities help a worthy organization like the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida, where 59 clubs serve nearly 6,000 youth daily. For tickets and team registration, email Charlie C. at bgcnf.org.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies
to
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
Listen to whatever you like, whenever you want.
I like this.
1010XL on demand. Ad-free shows after the live shows end. Shuttled by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Search where you find podcasts.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com. Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
No, it's not the Frangie show. Frenette also likes Springsteen, so we're gonna give him what he wants today.
I like that particular song.
Okay.
I like that. I don't like all Springsteen songs, but I like that one.
All right. Well, keep thinking of artists because Dylan's got a music library to draw from over there. Gene Frenette, Florida Times-Union columnist, is going to retire. His final columns will appear Saturday and Sunday in the Florida Times-Union after 44 years of covering sports here in Jacksonville, of course, including the entirety of the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you've got a specific question for Gene about anything he's covered over that time, or specifically about the Jags' current, past, whatever, you're welcome to bring it to the table at 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines. Jay on the west side going to lead us off there this morning. Jay, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, man.
Good morning. Hey, Gene. I want to say congratulations, man, on a great career. So you will be truly missed once you retire. But my question for you is, what's your favorite thing you wrote about the Jaguars?
Wow. Oh, boy. That's a tough one. A couple things do. I really enjoyed. I'm more of a guy that likes to look for like different angles on things. I've really enjoyed a few Mother's Day, Father's Day columns that I've written that have been connected to either Jaguar players or coaches. I love doing the column on Brian Schottenheimer after his dad Marty passed away. I've enjoyed just doing. I enjoyed doing the one about Tyler Lacey a couple of years ago, or last year on his Mother's Day, because his mother is a cancer survivor.
Just the personal element.
Yes, I really enjoy that aspect of it. And I would be remiss to not mention one other thing. About 2 months before Tony Baselli got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I did a pretty lengthy interview with him about what that would be like to go into Canton after his dad had passed away. And Tony was very gracious with his time with me on that. And I just really, I certainly lament for him that his dad was not there. But the stories that he shared about his dad and what that moment would be like for him in Canton without his dad being there, I really, really enjoyed telling that story. So personal stories like that, I really enjoy. Obviously, the football aspect, I've been to I think I counted it up, something like 380 something live Jaguar games. I've not been to all of them, but I've really enjoyed some of their playoff games. I thought the game in Pittsburgh where they won something like 42-35. That was 2017,
right?
Where they just Bortles just kept
got up 21-0. Yeah,
Bortles just kept outshining Roethlisberger, who himself had a really good game as well. He just couldn't keep up with Bortles or the Jaguars defense that also got a touchdown.
Jags had the Steelers number that year.
Yes, and it was not the first time that they had the Steelers number in the playoffs.
Right.
So that was the same year they had Roethlisberger saying after that first game, maybe I don't have it anymore.
Yes.
Right, like that's how confounding that defense was to him the first time around. But the playoff was a different animal. The Jaguars still came out on top, though.
Yeah, and so and I've even even in games that the Jaguars have lost, even heartbreakers. As a columnist, what you're looking for is great storylines, and sometimes that is to the benefit of the team you're covering, and sometimes it's not. But as a columnist, I look for great storylines, and to me, and one of the saddest ones, it was a column that I was very proud of doing, but it was incredibly sad for the entire Jaguars community, and especially for the players, was covering the game with the Detroit Lions in 2016, a week after Telvin Smith's brother was murdered. Paul Posluszny, you go into a locker room and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to be writing about the game, I guess, or whatever. But then what I saw in that locker room, Gus Bradley's 7-minute embrace of Telvin Smith, Paul Posluszny keeping his arms on his shoulder for 2 minutes while Telvin Smith was sobbing, finally started sobbing and broke down uncontrollably. He was supposed to talk to the media, and then he finally realized he couldn't do it. Just the emotion in that locker room. It was the greatest display I've ever seen of brotherhood in a locker room in my life. And it's very sad, and it's, I barely remember any details about the game that the Jaguars lost, but I will never forget what it was like in that locker room after the game. So as a columnist, those are things that you search for. You don't want anybody to lose their brother or to have any kind of thing. But when it's hitting you, it's basically like a slap in the face. Hey, forget the game. You got to write about this. This is unbelievable.
This is real.
This is life. This is real. And so it's stories like that as a columnist that really resonate with me. The games are the games, and win or lose, there's always going to be heartbreak. There's always going to be elation. I mean, the David Garrard Hail Mary, right, to Thomas. I mean, that's, those are things that, they're kind of cool, and you remember them, right?
I don't know if you remember that, because I bring this up all the time. That game in particular, Tony knows it, right?
Oh, yeah.
No cheering in the press box, right? But where we would sit typically at that stage when I was in the press box and not doing pregame radio was right up against the edge where they'd start the Houston media, right? They'd have all the Jacksonville media, and then they'd have the Houston or the visiting media. And those guys were the whole entire game just so almost like they had stock in the Texans. So dismissive of the Jaguars. And when that Hail Mary is complete, they're already packing their stuff up. They're like, another victory. We're going to go down there and talk about this victory. The shock that they got when that pass was completed, I rarely have I ever listened to anything anyone says in the press box, but it was so blatant that day. You probably don't have that same experience that I did, but long held statement, no cheering in the press box, right? But are there any times when you found yourself, whether it was covering the Jags or anything else, that you found yourself rooting for that particular outcome, not just because it would make a good story?
Not once have I even, from an emotional standpoint, ever thought about. I mean, whatever happens, whether it's something incredible or not, I just kind of stay neutral. But as a columnist, do you root for your column angle?
You root for the
Absolutely,
story, right?
You do.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, just being honest here, Jaguar fans may not like hearing this. Okay, but if there's like 3 minutes to go in the game, and it's and particularly you're on deadline, particularly if it's a night game, back when the newspapers had real deadlines. If the game all of a sudden just flipped, right? Whether it was for the Jaguars or against the Jaguars, as a columnist, you're thinking, oh, bleep. Now I got to change all this stuff that I've already written in my, you've written 6 or 7 or 8 paragraphs because you're trying to get ahead. So the last thing you want, now if it's a day game, no big deal.
Right.
But on a night game, you don't want a night game flipping on you.
You're rooting for no rewrites.
Right, correct. That's exactly right. Listen, columnists always root for their column.
Bush Drive Rich, one of our regulars out there on social media, asked, I said, happy retirement to Eugene. In your years of covering the Jaguars, do you agree we're seeing a shock to Jaguar culture that we've never seen before with the new brash leadership?
I certainly think it's the biggest shock in the Jaguars' history. Yes, I told you earlier, more of like a jolt. Now, a shock and a jolt, in a lot of ways, can be a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
But the Jaguar fan, we don't know what it's gonna mean for this year and next year. In fact, I've already written a column this week that to me the Jaguars coaching staff is playing with house money this year. Just for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now they might not view it that way, right? But when you think back on the 2 most successful coaching runs in Jaguars history is Tom Coughlin and, to a lesser extent, Jack Del Rio. Well, when you look at their timeline, when were they in a groove? They were in the groove years 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the years that they found a groove, right? And when I look at this new Jaguars regime, my message to Jaguar fans would be, hey, it's great that you got a guy like Travis Hunter. Finally, they drafted the big guy, Wyatt
Milam,
in the third round, which I liked seeing. I was a little surprised they didn't get to the defensive line, but you sometimes the board doesn't fall the way that you want it to, right?
And also, we didn't know. They're not going to tell us, yeah, you know what? We kind of like our defensive tackle group, right? Which is a factor as well in this whole thing. We don't always know exactly what their evaluation going in is going to be.
But as far as the shock factor, the jolt factor that he's referring to, I do think there is a little bit of that. Because I'll be honest with you, the shock factor for me was that Shad Khan in the middle of a coaching search decided, okay, Trent, you're out. I mean, how often do you see that in the middle of a coaching? You entrusted Trent Baalke to lead the coaching search, and then in the middle of it, you kind of came to the realization, you know what? Maybe this is now good on Liam Cohen. Very, very good on a PR conscious Liam Cohen in his press conference when I asked him about the change of heart and how much the Trent Baalke thing was connected to it. He had none of it. He knew that it did him no good to say, well, you know what? When Shad decided that there would be a new general manager, that kind of piqued my. He wasn't going to say that. He wasn't going to be disrespectful to Trent Baalke, and good on him for doing that, right? But it still was stunning to me, and obviously from a columnist standpoint, it's good copy, right? When an owner does something like that, and all of a sudden you get this wow factor. Oh my gosh, he really did fire Trent Baalke.
We might have enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And I do like the pointing out the difference between the perception of a shock versus a jolt, because I do think Urban Meyer did plenty of shocking things, right? Like during his time as a coach, but none of them gave life to anything that was happening with the football team or the organization. Basically, when he would do it, it would all take things away from what the direction of the franchise needed to be. So I do like the idea of kind of separating shock from jolt. This is a real jolt for the fan base. There's life being put into what's happening with the franchise and the fan base.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. Now, it's only a pleasant and great jolt if the regime follows up and you start going, maybe you go 7-10, 8-9 the first year, and then you go maybe 11-6 the next year, and then maybe the year, but the point being is that it's been such a grind and a failing grind at trying to have a sustained winner here in Jacksonville. And all I'm saying is, I think with this regime, they got a chance. It doesn't mean it'll happen, but I think they got a chance.
And to your point about the grace period, I think people are very happy for any change. Once they particularly Baalke, Doug Peterson to a lesser degree, but still included in all that. But I think Gladstone, Cohen, Pacelli, they're all saying, we're going to trade that first-round pick next year. We don't have that parachute to save us here. So we can't just go, well, we showed some internal signs of improvement. We won 5 games and we're giving up a top 10 pick. Like they're like, no, we're going to win as many as we possibly can right away. We're going to put that kind of target on our back. We'll see if they're able to do that coming up. But I kind of like that they're operating to some degree without a net to fall back on. Like if it blows up in your face, you don't have that top 10 pick to look forward to next year. So Mock Draft Wednesdays will take a big turn next year.
Let's not forget when the Jaguars won their first AFC South title in 2017, they were coming off a 3-13 season.
From your lips, Gene.
Let's not forget when they won their second AFC South title at 9-8, they were coming off a 3-14 season. So,
I mean, you're saying since we won 4 last year, we might go undefeated now by this math, I think.
Turnarounds of titanic proportion are known to happen in the NFL. It happens for the franchise. In fact, I plucked this stat out the other day. 214 new head coaches in the last 30 years in the NFL. 214. Okay. And that includes coaches who were coaching in their first year, but maybe with their second team. 240. The average number of wins those years is 6.96 that first year. Okay. Last decade, 41 teams have had records of 4 wins or less. Out of those 41, 14 had winning seasons the following year. So, it can happen.
Yeah.
It's just the odds are more against it than for it, but it can happen.
It's not like 1 in 100 here.
That's absolutely right. It's doable.
All right, sure. Gene Frenette is here with us. Announced that he will be retiring this week. He has covered the Jaguars as long as they have been the Jaguars, and much more here in Jacksonville. Keep your questions coming in on the text line, on social media, and on the phone lines as well as we continue into hour number 2. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. In life, only the best things stand the test of time, like radio play-by-play.
I think it's bigger than it seems, and if you're one of these players or one of these coaches, it's the biggest thing in your life.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Are you ready to step up to luxury?
Check out the power of our exciting 2025 lineup, including the Lyric, IQ, Optique, and the stunning Vistique.
With over 15 electric Cadillacs in stock and more on the way, it's the perfect time to trade in your Tesla and embrace luxury with a twist.
At Randy Marion, there are no tariffs. So visit Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville, and see why our electric lineup turns heads.
Don't miss out. Drive Cadillac, electric or gas. We have both. Plus tax tag title $9.99 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
What does your dream backyard look like? Hey, it's Joe C. and my friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can design an outdoor kitchen layout custom built to your taste and lifestyle. You dream it, they can build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Visit cssoutdoor.com.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here, and I know that getting into an accident is stressful, but getting the proper care doesn't have to be. That's why I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Even if you're at fault, your insurance covers you. And remember, you have the right to choose your own doctor. Even a minor accident can cause whiplash for years if it goes untreated. So don't wait. Call the auto accident experts at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Your recovery starts today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Jaguars Today, Wednesday.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Is your office productivity running at full speed? Advanced Business Solutions has the solution with Xerox copiers. Whether you need high-volume printing, scanning, or secure document management, Xerox copiers deliver efficiency, quality, and innovation. With features like cloud integration and mobile printing, Xerox is perfect for any modern office. Let ABS help you streamline your workflow. Veteran-owned, Advanced Business Solutions.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low fives, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
What Major League Baseball teams have never won a World Series?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series: Colorado, Milwaukee, San Diego, Seattle, and Tampa Bay.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Looking for a fun-filled evening that the whole family can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football, a fast-paced, action-filled sport where excitement meets family fun. Check out your hometown Sharks on Saturday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. For tickets, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. Go Sharks!
Prosser here. The Sharks look to get back in winning form this Saturday while you enjoy a fun-filled evening. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. Discover the thrill of indoor football, fast-paced, action-filled, family fun, and check out our hometown Sharks. Saturday, May 3rd, kickoff 7 o'clock at the ViStar Memorial Arena. For tickets and the family 4-pack information, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. That's 621-0700. Go Sharks!
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL local sports update brought to you by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Breaking news for the Jacksonville Jaguars per ESPN's Justin Fowler. The Jacksonville Jaguars will not be picking up linebacker Devin Lloyd's fifth-year option. Lloyd is expected to hit the free agency market in 2026. A pair of Florida Gators from the Gators baseball team were named to watch list for major awards this past week, catcher Luke Heyman and shortstop Colby Shelton. The awards honor the top players in the nation at the catcher and shortstop positions. Florida returns to action this weekend with a 3-game road series at South Carolina, taking on the Gamecocks starting this Friday. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp's 7-game winning streak came to an end yesterday with a 3-2 loss to the Durham Bulls up in North Carolina. The Shrimp will look to bounce back in Game 2 tonight of their 6-game series, with Shrimp right-handed pitcher Freddie Tarnock starting on the mound. First pitch is at 6:35. It's 79 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Florida Times Union, soon to be retired columnist Gene Frenette, but not quite yet. We've got him here on Jaguars Today for another hour to go. And no, thank you for the questions. We got a bunch of them. We're going to go rapid fire here in a moment with Gene, but we do not know who the columnist is. Gene, you said that some papers now, when a columnist retires, they don't necessarily replace them, but that won't be the case. And the TU will have a new columnist, and we just don't know who that's going to be at this point in time. But thank you for the question there. Let's get James on the south side. Wants to get in here on Jaguars Today at 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines. James, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. Gene, I just want to wish you a happy retirement. I can remember the times growing up here, being a baby boomer, reading your columns in the paper until modernization came in and the digital media took over. And I just want to say you've done a wonderful job in this market, and I just hope God continue to bless you in whatever you decide to do from this point forward. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you, James.
That's really nice, man. Here's one for you. I want to say thanks, Gene. My father, Don Jacobs, was athletic director at Jacksonville University in the 80s to mid-90s, and you wrote a column on him donating his kidney to his younger brother. It was so pure and genuine. You expressed his father's feelings and also his uncle's. Thank you from the Jacobs family, and enjoy your retirement. That's from Greg out at the beaches.
Oh, that's great. I haven't thought about Don Jacobs in a while, but
it's got to be wonderful to hear that you touched a lot of people, right, over the years.
Yeah, I mean, your hope is when you write that you impact people and hopefully in a good way. And I get it. Sometimes there'll be people that don't like what I write, or they think I was way off base, or I'm anti this, homer that. I mean, particularly with college football fans, I'd like to have $1 for every time an FSU fan thought I was a Gator homer or a Gator fan thought I was a FSU homer. I mean, it's just
you might be able to retire.
College football fans take emotion to a little bit of a different level because it's their alma mater or it's the team that they really grew up with. So there's a level of fanaticism that's tends to be a little bit higher with college football than with anything else.
I got this one from friend of the program, Papa G. Congratulations, Mr. Frenette, on your retirement. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, born in 1959. In the 70s, went to high school with Tommy Cornelison?
Tom Cornelison.
Cornelison,
yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Ended up as a sports writer at the TU for years. Do you remember him, know of him? Thank you for all the great memories and best of luck in your retirement.
Yeah, Tom was the columnist at the Jacksonville Journal when I got hired as the prep writer. Tom went to Forest High School on the west side. Well, it's now West Side High School. But incidentally, I would tell that caller that if you were born in 1959, you cannot call me Mr. Frenette. Okay. Yeah. If you were born any time before 1975, then you better call me Gene.
All right.
But anyway, Tom was a terrific help to me. Tom also covered Florida football quite a bit, and I used to go to Gator games with him when Charlie Pell was coaching. And this is how different the media game is now. When you went to a Florida football game under Charlie Pell, and it was still true under Galen Hall, after the game, when you were finished writing in the press box, whatever you had to do, you went one floor above the press box for a social outing with the coach. You could go and have a beer or whatever your libation might be, and Charlie Pell would just sit there and chat with you and things like that. I mean, well, we used to, of course, we used to go in the locker rooms back then and talk to players, college football, talk to Florida State. Well, that's not true anymore, right? You don't go in the locker room anymore.
Right.
They bring select players to you after the game now. So I was really fortunate to grow up in a media age, which it was late 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the early portion of 2000s. Newspapers were still kind of a little bit of in a golden age in terms of they were making a lot of money. They weren't losing subscribers. And then, of course, the internet sort of obviously changed all that. And now newspapers, 90% of them, quite frankly, are in decline when it comes to circulation. One exception in Florida is the Villages. That newspaper is thriving because they're in a community with a bunch of people that are 65 and older, right? But by
the way, Tony, so what does Gene have in front of him right now? 2 different sports sections of the actual physical newspaper.
I've been taking a newspaper and reading one since I was, 8 or, since my parents, I used to read Jim Murray's syndicated columns from the LA Times in our paper in Vermont. But I feel fortunate that I was able to work at the time I was. I used to do my first stories on a manual Smith Corona Royal typewriter, right? I mean, that's how I used to hammer out stories back in the mid 70s. So I got to see newspapers when newspapers were really hot, right? And what was written in the newspaper mattered to a lot more people then than it does now.
It was their source, all of our source. I mean, I remember the disappointment for me. Like if my team was playing on the West Coast, if you got up the next day and they didn't have the box in the paper, which you often didn't because of the time, you got to get the print. And, but if you didn't get that, maybe, Tone, you'd get, I guess when SportsCenter came along, that was a different story. But, maybe you'd get the local TV station giving you winners. They wouldn't even give you the score of the game. Teams in Major League Baseball that, winners today, and they just ripped through the names of the teams. And it was like, that was what you got, and you were happy for it.
Yeah, I can remember I was the scorekeeper for the first fantasy football league I played, the neighborhood, and it would be the paper on Tuesday morning.
Right.
Like when all the box scores was in there. That's what I was going through to do the scoring for the fantasy with all the neighbors and my dad and like all that. But I think he was doing it to get me to learn algebra is why he wanted me to do it. But it was a good way for me to learn algebra. There's no doubt about that.
All right. Let's get back to the lines here. 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines. Our man Byron in Gainesville next up on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Byron.
Good morning, guys. I'm not going to do my Duval because Gene, I tell you, man, I didn't get the Jacksonville paper Times as much, but they would have you sometimes in the Gainesville Sun. And back in those days, probably 80s, 90s, and during those days, they did a guest columnist. And they would have you in there, and you did some great columns. But what I want to ask you this morning, man, is I wasn't a big dreamer like Wayne Weaver, and I just was barely getting up to the Bulls games, but the tennis was great. Tell me how big of a story or what story you printed when we actually got the franchise and Jacksonville got it, and when we got our first Super Bowl, which was just an amazing dream for me to come to Jacksonville. Those two stories, which would have been big. I don't remember reading them, but tell me what they would have been like and what you wrote back then. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Byron. Duval! Come on, man. You're not going to leave us without Duval, Byron.
I would say, first thing, as nice as it was for Jacksonville to get the Super Bowl here, it doesn't compare to getting a franchise here. I mean, it just doesn't. I was at the Hyatt Hotel at the Chicago O'Hare Airport when the first time when the NFL delayed the announcement, gave a team to Carolina, and delayed the announcement on the next team because they wanted to give St. Louis more time to get their act together. They never did. Jacksonville and Wayne Weaver took advantage of the turnover that St. Louis had. They fumbled the ball, and Jacksonville recovered, and they got the team. And you reminded me of of another story that I really enjoyed doing was I did the Sunday in Sunday's paper about 4 or 5 days after they got the team. I did a story about what transpired behind the scenes leading up to all that. And one of my favorite stories, there's a lot of good stories that come out of that, but Wayne Weaver was telling me this story. Okay, so they get the team. The NFL is calling them to go down to the press conference to announce that Jacksonville is going to get the 30th NFL franchise. And so Wayne Weaver, Tom Petway, and the whole Jaguars group is riding the elevator down to the floor to go to the press conference. And all of a sudden they hear a ding. The elevator stops on a floor that's going down to the first floor. The doors open, and who's the only person standing outside that elevator but the ponytailed Boogie Wineglass, who was the proposed owner of the Baltimore group. So he hears, a lot of the hooping and hollering as the elevator is coming down, and Wayne Weaver looks at Boogie Wineglass. He goes, no. Boogie says, no, I'll get the next one. You guys go ahead. And Wayne says, no, you come on. And so Boogie says, well, sure. Congratulations on getting the team. And Wayne says, well, there's nothing official yet. We're not really sure what's happening. And Boogie, after hearing all the whooping and hollering, goes, well, it sure sounds like you got a team.
No. We're just anticipating what it would be like if we did. That's good stuff, man. This goes along with it. This is from Cole on our text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Gene, thank you for what you've done. In your opinion, let's put aside getting the franchise. What's the greatest moment you've experienced covering the Jags? And maybe you've talked about some of those personal, human interest moments. What is the greatest on-field moment or accomplishment that you got a chance to cover, in your opinion?
Boy. Well, as I've already written for my farewell column, my greatest work day ever was the day that Tony Baselli and Leroy Butler got into the Hall of Fame. That's
awesome.
That was the greatest day ever. So just seeing the joy. I went to both of their celebration parties. Greatest work day ever. But that's different from what he's asking. Greatest on-field moment. Whoa, God, there's so many incredible moments to choose from. I don't want to say it was a great moment for me, but it was a great moment for the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base. Was the 62-7 win over the Miami Dolphins. I mean, Fred Taylor's 90-yard run in that game still resonates with me. Two fantastic individual games that are in my memory bank. One, Fred Taylor running for 234 yards against the Steelers at Three Rivers Stadium.
And Freddie will tell you, had he not partied that weekend, he would have broke the NFL record.
Yes. And even though the Jaguars didn't win the game, lost at 39-36, Jimmy Smith, I believe it was 14 catches for 291 yards.
15.
15. Okay.
I had him in my fantasy lineup that day.
291 yards.
I did.
the most yards in the history of the NFL by a receiver in a losing cause. Still.
3 touchdowns. And that was an outstanding Baltimore defense, too.
That's the Super Bowl winning team he did that against, by the way. That resonates with me as well.
Think about this one as we go to break, okay? Give you a little time to mull it, okay? After Fred Taylor, who we hope eventually gets enshrined in Canton, who will be the next Jaguar, right? Could be maybe Jimmy Smith, whose accomplishments are there, or maybe it's one of you think Travis Hunter will be the next guy. Who knows? Or Brian Thomas Jr. So think about that after Freddie T, if we presume he eventually gets in, who will be the next Jaguar to grace the halls of Canton, Ohio's Pro Football Hall of Fame. Tony Smith is here. Dylan Denmark. I'm Mike Dempsey. We've got Gene Frenette of the Florida Times-Union. Keep those questions coming. I got a bunch more here for you, Gene, and we'll continue the conversation with the man who has covered Jacksonville sports for 44 years and will hang it up this weekend. An official retirement coming this weekend. Gene Frenette in studio here with us. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. The future of Jacksonville sports radio is in the present. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. 1010XL. Jack Sports Radio.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Tailgaters parking season passes are on sale now. Secure your Jaguar season parking today. Enjoy indoor restrooms, a full-service bar and grill, access 4 hours before kickoff. Visit tailgatersparking.com and book your space today.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
It's your main man, E.T., and Monday is Cinco de Mayo at Twin Peaks with the costume party on May 5th, specials on tequilas, cervezas, and even wine. And I'm hearing the service are going to bring the spicy costumes too. Twin Peaks for Cinco de Mayo, where the party gets spicy.
All right, fellas, I got to brag a little. I'm down 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss and keeping it off.
That's cute, Matt. I'm down 110 pounds. That's like losing a Backstreet Boy.
Okay, so I'm the rookie here. I just started, but I'm already down 13 pounds, and let me tell you, it feels good to see the results already.
That's the thing, man. Awaken 180 works. No shots, no meds, no gimmicks, just real food, real support, and real results.
The support team is a game changer because we all know it's so easy to get distracted. But with Awaken 180, you get your own coach and a plan that works with your lifestyle.
And free support for life.
Plus, no gym workouts required, which is great because let's be honest, I wasn't running wind sprints either.
25, 40, even 110 pounds. If we all can do it, so can you. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Friends, we have a very special guest on the line.
The Checkmate Coatings phone line is where the action happens.
Where's the phone? Over there.
Get expert interviews and listener opinions all day, every day, from the drill all the way to Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ORDER to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ORDER to 42424. That's ORDER to 42424.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
The Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa is the perfect place for indulging in a pampering spa treatment. This Mother's Day season, give the gift of wellness with a gift card and take advantage of the spa's current promotion. Buy a $75 gift card or more and guests get a credit towards a future service. With healing massages, revitalizing facial treatments, and more, a day at the Sawgrass Spa makes a perfect gift for everyone. Purchase in person at Sawgrass Spa during operating hours.
The aroma, flavor, the bliss. Nothing matches a great cigar, and now you can indulge yourself with My Father's Cigars. Come to Tobacco Cove on Saturday, May 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. for an incredible cigar event featuring food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to embrace the joy of My Father's Cigars at Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
Mother's Day is coming. Don't run out of time. Small Cakes has sweets she'll love from you and the kids. Mention 1010XL to get 10% off now until Wednesday. Cupcakes to brownies to ice cream. Customize it so it's unique to mom. SmallCakesJacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, the kudos for a career well spent for Gene Frenette continue to roll in. We can't read them all, but we appreciate all of them coming in. We're passing a lot of them along to Gene in the breaks as well. Derek Hess, who's been affiliated with Leonard Skinner and Rosington Collins, said he's enjoying the conversation, appreciates all you've done, well-deserved retirement, and many of those in that vein as well. All right, Tony, what am I good at? Forgetting what I set up.
Yes.
Remembered this time. Gene, let's assume Fred Taylor gets in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Okay, one day. Fantastic. We love Freddie. Who's the next Jaguar? Or have we seen that person? Is it too soon to say who that is?
Well, obviously it is because, I mean, personally, I'd love to see Fred Taylor get in, but the guy that I really want to see get in as well, and Fred has said he should go in before him, is Tom Coughlin. I feel very strongly about Tom Coughlin getting into Canton. The problem is the way the Hall of Fame has set up the voting process now. It makes it harder for a coach to get in because now the coach is in with 3 senior players. There's 3 senior players, 1 contributor, 1 coach. So the voters have got those 5 names, right? And that's providing that you even get to be the coach nominee,
correct,
right? So
Holmgren was this past time.
And that was bad. That was bad news for Tom when Holmgren didn't get in, because now that means Holmgren goes back into the queue as competition for Tom. And you've got Mike Shanahan there as well. You've got Marty Schottenheimer there as well. You've got Reeves with the Falcons there as well. So there's a lot of competition, and it's just going to be a lot harder, unfortunately, for Tom to get in. But the question about Fred. And who the next Jaguar would be to get into the Hall of Fame. I think that player is still playing or has not yet gotten on the field.
Because we were having this conversation on the break. You think Jimmy Smith, the odds are just stacked because there's so many receivers and the numbers and the line of guys waiting to get in. It's going to be tough.
It really, really difficult. Listen, there's a reason why Jimmy hasn't gotten to the finals yet, right? Fred's gotten to the finals twice. Jimmy has not, which is ironic because Jimmy Smith is a 5-time Pro Bowler and had a 5-year run that was as good as anybody else has had in the NFL. And yet Fred has gotten to the finals twice, and Jimmy can't get past the semifinals. So if you can't get past the semifinals for a substantial amount of time, the odds are really heavily stacked against you. I mean, first of all, I wouldn't if you told me, okay, if you put a gun to my head and say, okay, you got to bet $1,000 of your personal money, and who's going to be the next Jaguars player who's a Hall of Famer after Fred Taylor? Boy, I don't know that you could pick 5 names or even 10 and be right.
I would guess Calais would be my guess.
Okay, but primarily not going to be.
He was a short-timer Jaguars player.
Right,
but
Calais
this is when he had the most success in his career was here.
How about Torrey Holt?
Torrey,
give us Torrey Holt. We'll count him. I'll
Torrey's
take him.
even more Fred.
If you're going to count Torrey Holt, he'd be the guy I'd pick. He's been in the final. He's been on the cusp.
I met Gene. This is on the text line. This is on my Lifetime Enclosures. I met Gene in 1984 when I was a Jacksonville Bulls cheerleader. He was always so kind and professional. Congratulations, Gene, on a great career. Happy retirement. That's from Beth in Atlantic Beach. So they continue to pour in. Let's get Darren on the phone lines next up here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Darren.
Good morning, Gene. Congratulations. So I technically worked for you when I was 13 years old. My very first job was going door to door selling newspaper subscriptions for the Florida Times Union and the Jacksonville Journal. Wow. And then it went full circle when I got married. My father-in-law, Jeff Jacobs, was a graphic artist at the Florida TU for over 30 years. So he probably helped put some of your articles together in the sports section. And then when I was 19, I actually was a hopper out of one of the vans going and picking up newspapers at 4 o'clock in the morning when they were hot off the press. And so, Gene, thank you for all you've done for Jacksonville. And I love reading your articles all through my entire life. I'm 57 now. And, man, what a great run it's been for you. Congratulations. And don't be a stranger to the radio, man. We love hearing from you, okay?
Well, thank you for your sentiments.
Thank you, Darren.
I don't get that many radio invitations. So this is
you know what? You got some free time now, though. So he knows where we are, Tony. You may just stop by. I don't know. By the way, GPS. Try to take Gene across the street. You don't want to go across the street anymore, man.
Not anymore.
Got to look at the old building over there. Another question here. I just saw a moment ago. I don't have it up in front, so I don't remember who sent it. But talk about your favorite Jaguar memory, non-Jaguar event that you covered in your time at the Florida Times Union. Something that stands out to you.
A non-Jaguar,
anything, event or moment or personality or whatever. What stands out? What's near the top?
Well, I certainly enjoyed the 4 years that I got to go to the Masters. That was, I mean, that venue is just spectacular.
Did you ever win the lottery, the Monday lottery?
I did. I have a story about that too. There's good news and bad news to that. The good news is that I won the lottery, and so I got to play. I got to play Augusta National the next day. So I start out. This is no lie. I had literally a 3 foot. 4 foot, 3.5 foot downhill putt for par on the first hole. I left it short.
A
downhill putt
at Augusta.
I mean, I just kind of figured if I just barely touch it, the momentum will carry, and it stopped like that far from the hole. So I bogeyed the first hole.
Okay.
It was that extra day of the grass growing.
Okay. Might have been, right?
Yeah. On the par 5 second hole, I was about 132 yards away in 2. Dropped it to about 8 feet from the cup, made the putt. So I have a birdie at Augusta
National. This guy, I'm even through 2.
So I'm even through 2. I think I parred 3 as well. And maybe so. I don't know. I'm sure I was probably something like 4 over something or 5 over or something like that through 6. And all of a sudden, the rains came.
Oh, man.
And I could not keep my clubs dry. I mean, it wasn't pouring rain, but it was a steady rain, and I just didn't have a way to keep my clubs dry. I mean, but anyway, so I'm saying, gosh, okay, all right.
I'm seeing scenes from Caddyshack right here,
so
Tony,
anyway,
right?
So we get to the 9th hole, and it's raining now, and I'll never forget this. My caddy's name was Julius, and I'm putting through rain, and I got about a 40-foot uphill right to left breaking putt. And Julius tells me he said, this is where you need to hit that putt. You aim right for that. And I needed to get down in 2 to break 50. That's because the rains really started affecting the scores. Triple bogeys started happening. And I was really fixated on, God, I got to get it down in 2. I hit the putt. It was probably one of the best putts I ever hit. It stopped right on the lip, and I tapped in for the 49. Shot 66 on the back because the clubs were just, I just could not keep it was just impossible. But I wasn't going to walk off Augusta National. I don't care how hard it was raining.
Right? I mean, you only get a chance to play it once, and my man birdied number 2, Tony. Are you kidding me? Left a 4-footer short on the first hole. We're going to have to talk about this, sir. Gene, the last true sports columnist for the Florida Times-Union, congrats on your retirement. Hey, there will be more to come, but Gene's been doing it very well for a long, long time. When we come back, the question on everyone's mind. What about the damn turkey, Tony? Come on. What about the turkey? That's coming up next as we celebrate Gene Frenette and talk Jaguar football with you here. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
Okay, excellent show, everyone.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Jacksonville, ready to spice up your happy hour? Take advantage of the happy hour specials going on right now at One Night Taco Stand. Every day from 2 until 6, enjoy 50% off appetizers like queso and guac, empanadas and taquitos, 2-for-1 margaritas, and 2-for-1 daiquiris at One Night Taco Stand, Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. One of the biggest changes we've seen in fine jewelry over the last 25 years has been the growth of jewelry designers. At Underwoods, we're the leader, bringing to North Florida the best names in designer jewelry. In fact, we carry designer lines in a similar way to how clothing stores carry designer labels. The difference is that jewelry designers have to be a little more timeless in their presentations because nobody wants to buy a fine piece of jewelry only to find out the next year it's gone out of style. That's why you'll find at Underwoods the best of the jewelry designer names, those that are tried and true and popular. Names like David Yerman, Roberto Coin, John Hardy, Marco Bichigo, Jude Francis, Lagos, Hippolyta, and a lot more are all available right now at Underwoods. So if you want the best looks in designer jewelry, stop by Underwoods, San Marco, Avondale, or the shops upon Avedra.
Got a leaky faucet? AC blowing hot air? No worries, DuckDuckRooter has your back. Call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. DuckDuckRooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism. Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators! Jacksonville, you know a good defense wins games, and a good fence protects your home. Frank Frangie here. Coil Fencing has been around the block since 1927. Literally, they've probably fenced it too. From tough chain link to sleek aluminum fences your HOA will love, Coil is the name to trust. Nearly a century strong and still standing tall. Call Coil today. You can trust them. Call 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
Rebound Rehabilitation. 11 great locations across the First Coast, and they're just a click away when it comes to feeling strong and healthy again. If you need the best path to recovery, look no further than Rebound Rehab. Log on and check out one of their great 11 locations.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Charles.
6.
Oh, so close. Betty for the steal.
What about the bank that helps you reach your financial goals? Synovus.
Let's see, judges. Yes, looks like we have a winner.
That's a number?
Sorry, Charlie. Remember, a solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Talk with Synovus about your potential today. Brought to you by Synovus Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. The number was 4.
Everyone seems to be in a time crunch these days. Well, don't forget you can always count on the cold case at Daly's. Always convenient, always cold. Whether it's the king of beers, Natty Light, Stella, or Cigar City, or Goose Island or Bud Light Seltzer, dash into Daly's and grab one to go.
Looking for a fun-filled evening that the whole family can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football, a fast-paced, action-filled sport where excitement meets family fun. Check out your hometown Sharks on Saturday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. For tickets, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. Go Sharks!
Prosser here. The Sharks look to get back in winning form this Saturday while you enjoy a fun-filled evening. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. Discover the thrill of indoor football, fast-paced, action-filled, family fun, and check out our hometown Sharks. Saturday, May 3rd, kickoff 7 o'clock at the MyStar Memorial Arena. For tickets and the family 4-pack information, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. That's 621-0700. Go Sharks!
Hey, it's Guggen Golf time. If you and a friend would like to play in this year's Coastal Equipment Guggen Open Golf Tournament, May 19th at Hidden Hills Golf Club, text Guggen, Googan, to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010 for your chance to win. Score a hole-in-one and win an Atlantic Infinity SUV. Enjoy Chick-fil-A breakfast, the Dandy Foods lunch. Check out the latest big boy toys from Ride Now Power Sports. Thanks to our sponsors, Taco Loop, Lift Power, Instant Keys, and Southern Oak Insurance.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, Gene Frenette, Florida Times Union, with us here in his final week on the job at the Florida Times Union after 44 years, a well-deserved retirement upcoming. So we've got a few more questions to put to you, Gene. We'll get to the very important one next. But first, this top Jag personality or personalities that you covered, just guys that you enjoyed interacting with or were unique or what have you.
Well, I mean, when you just use the word personality, I would say Maurice Jones-Drew is the first name that pops in my head. MJD never met a television camera or tape recorder that he didn't like or didn't want to get in front of. I mean, he liked the spotlight.
He had an ease in it as well.
But he also gave you great material to work with. Did he have some diva in him? Yeah, he had some diva. I'm sure he did. He didn't like it when I mentioned that to him, but I said, you do have a little bit. Come on, Maurice, you got a little bit of that in you. Come on, and it's no surprise that we now see him on television. Right? No big shock that he's carved a nice career out for himself in that regard. So he would be the first name that would pop. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of very likable guys, but they may not necessarily have electric personalities, right? They may not, just like pop. I mean, in his heyday and still now, I mean, Tony Baselli is someone who always is very good about speaking his mind, and a guy that you look forward to talking to because you're just kind of wondering what his particular take might be on something.
I said it for many years when I first started covering the Jags in the locker room in '96, and Baselli at times then could kind of be gruff and whatever, but I don't know if it was because I probably was nervous to be in there or whatever. He was always so nice to me, always took time for me. He probably doesn't remember that at all, but I always appreciated that as well. All right, Dylan, let's get to today's 10-10 take and the questions that need answering around these parts.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
Gene Frenette's covered a lot of things, Tony. He's covered teams on the beat. He's been a columnist. He's done this, but he's also been somewhat of a semi-professional / amateur photographer in his time with the Florida Times-Union. Gene, I can't tell you how many people.
That career cannot die, Gene. We're not going to allow that.
I just knew this 2 hours wasn't going to go by without this coming up.
This was the number one thing people wanted me to ask you about. What about the turkey? All right, we'll start with the turkey, the Thanksgiving turkey, which if you go to Twitter, if you have Twitter, just search Frenette, give a space, and the word turkey, and you will immediately see many people commenting on Gene's, I don't know what you would call it, Tony, not fully formed, not fully developed. What about, did you ever imagine when you tweeted out a picture of a Thanksgiving turkey that it would take on the life that it did?
Absolutely not. It was just sort of, in fact, I remember I was sitting at the table and I had this innocent thought, I'll just take a picture of the turkey. Yeah, maybe I'll just go ahead and tweet it out.
Here's the turkey.
Yeah, it's just a turkey, And man, you would have thought I had shot Merrill.
All right, so the turkey lives on in infamy. People love to tweet that at you and different things over time. It always comes back around Thanksgiving. What about the trash can, Gene? What happened there?
Okay, the trash can was, again, sometimes you get impaired a little bit, right? When you're tweeting and you're not quite fully 100% focused on what you're doing. So I was somehow tweeting something out about Episcopal high school football, and I had taken a picture of it, right? And I believe it was it might have been when the Jaguars had to be training out at Episcopal that one year,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
And I just tweeted out the wrong picture. I tweeted out this picture I had taken, I guess the day before, of garbage cans in front of my house, my own personal garbage cans.
Which, by the way, which begs the question, why?
Yeah.
All right, why was that even?
Again, it was just my own personal. I can't remember why I took that particular picture, but I somehow got connected between Episcopal High School and when they clicked on that picture portion of it. Trash cans showed up, then not the Episcopal High football field.
Did you have to call anyone at Episcopal to explain that I did not?
I did not, nor did I get a call from anybody at Episcopal for that. So
I was told to ask you about trying to take a photo of the blimp one day, and I don't recall that one. Was it just very distant or something like that?
Yeah, it was. That was at a Jaguars. I was at a Jaguars practice. I think I ended up talking about the blimp, and then when you look at the picture, I believe there's no blimp. You can't see it in the picture.
Look, here's the sky. The blimp's out there somewhere, guys.
So
trust me.
So just in this conversation that we've had here in the last minute and a half, you understand why I didn't go into photography.
Yes. We hope you continue along with that just in the amateur vein. We'd love to see you out at Jaguar practice for some random shots, Tony. I think that'd be great.
I mean, one of the latest texts we got, I do think is very informative about this whole process, Gene. Someone named Billy has texted in, I worked for the Times Union around 97, 98 as a library assistant as I was starting my career as a young man. We had 3 computers in the whole building that could get on the internet back then. Anyways, I was the resident IT expert at the time, and I have vivid memories of helping Gene learn how to Google for research.
Yes. Yeah, that's very possible. Yes, that's very possible. I could not teach an IT class, and I probably would need a heavy amount of training for any new technology that comes along. Fortunately, I am married to a woman who is fantastic at IT, and so one of many reasons why I made a good choice when I made her my wife.
That same person referenced your book about Ed Hearn. You were mentioning he's one of your great friends in life, right?
Yeah.
That you met through a sports connection.
Yes. Yeah, Ed was was in Fort Pierce, and I was in Fort Pierce for a year and a half. I became good friends with his family. His youngest brother is now a PGA Tour rules official. He was on tour for 1 year in '95, and he was the best man at my wedding. So obviously, my connection with that family goes back a long, long ways. Their parents are still living in Fort Pierce. But yeah, Ed was somebody that I did a book with in 1995 called Conquering Life's Curves. And, he's been through 4 kidney transplants. He's battled cancer multiple times. Sadly, he had to have one of his ears removed. He had cancer in his jaw. I mean, yeah, he's been to the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota so often now I've lost track. But he keeps on grinding. I mean, it's amazing to me. A whole ton of respect for him to battle as often as he had. His baseball career, in fact, got cut short because of what he didn't know then would eventually be kidney issues that ended up, he needed it multiple times. He's gotten like 2 or 3 live donors. He's gotten a cadaver. He's been through medical hell, but keeps on trucking. And one of the great joys of my life was doing Ed's book.
All right, and we asked you on break because somebody asked here, at this time, no plans for you to do a retrospective book about all the things you've covered, anything like that?
Not at this time. I just don't, listen, hundreds, maybe thousands of media people have had careers long, not everybody writes a book about it, right? I would probably be more interested in doing a book about something else other than I have no plans and quite frankly, no interest in doing a book about myself.
Gotcha.
I would prefer to do it about something else if I did.
On another very serious topic here, in a cage match, Ryan O'Halloran v. Chris Clemens, who you got? Where's your money going on that one?
Well, I would give the edge to Ryan in pure desire to want to kill Chris Clemens, but
that's fair.
But in a actual match where they actually participated in a steel cage, I'd have to go with Chris
Last
Clemens.
9 seconds in favor of Clemens, right? Unless you get in between O'Halloran and McDonald's, and I'll say this because O'Halloran infamously would take their London trips and he would eat the whole week at McDonald's. I hate English food. You know O'Halloran, right? So that would be interesting. Here's one as well.
By the way, I would Vegas over under would be 7.5 seconds.
7.5.
How quickly Ryan would tap out in a steel cage match with Chris Clemens.
I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna go if you put it at 9.5, I'll take the under, but I might go over on 7.5. Somebody asked, who is the greatest high school athlete you've covered on the First Coast? There are obviously been some standouts.
In turn, I had 3 years down in Fort Pierce and West Palm Beach, and I still maintain that the greatest high school athlete I've ever covered was Anthony Carter. He was just he played at Suncoast High School down in West Palm Beach. And he was just—I saw him score 5 touchdowns in one game that I covered in 1978.
He went to the USFL, right? Didn't he? Early
yes,
on?
but he was in the NFL with the Vikings for many years as well. But yeah, I would say what he could do in football and on the basketball court was quite extraordinary. I mean, obviously, I've covered Leroy Butler. Right now, he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think I ever saw Brian Dawkins in a high school game. Another Hall of Famer. But yeah, if I'm going overall, I would go. I know Anthony Carter's not a First Coast guy, but when I think of a greatest high school athlete, I do think of him.
All right, we got about 2 more minutes with you. Let's bring it all to the present moment. What should Jaguar fans be satisfied with in 2025? What level of accomplishment from this football team?
Well, I wrote about this the other day, and I said that first of all, let's keep in mind that this is a first-time head coach, first-time GM, and they're flipping the roster probably by about 1/3 or something like that, maybe even a little bit more than that. So there's a lot. They haven't even. They're just starting to build a culture. I would say if the Jaguars can win 7 or 8 games next year, and they might very well win more than that. I'm not saying that they won't win more than that, but if they win 7 or 8 games next year, and they're fairly competitive in the games that they lose, I think that would be a pretty good head start. Because keep in mind, when you look at the timeline of 2 Jaguars head coaches who have had the most success, one being Tom Coughlin, obviously, and the next one, strangely enough, being Jack Del Rio. The only times the Jaguars had any sustained success in their franchise history was years 2 through 5 with Tom Coughlin, years 2 through 5 with Jack Del Rio. And I think there's something to be said for that. Listen, Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, they may not see it this way, but I think they're playing with house money a little bit this year. I think that there has to be some sort of consideration of the fact that it's not a total rebuild by any means. It's a half rebuild, but they're starting something new and they're starting something fresh. Much more pressure on them year 2, year 3, certainly year 4 when you're going into a new stadium, right, in 2028. So I would say enjoy this year. Let them get their culture, their program established. And whatever that means, I mean, you certainly don't want it to mean just 3 or 4 wins. Sure. But I think if you're winning 7 or 8 games and you're pretty darn competitive, and I'm not saying they can't win like 9 or 10 and win the division. That could very well happen as well. How do again, the factor nobody considers, they don't consider health. How healthy are you going to stay? Is Trevor Lawrence going to play the full season? Is he going to play all 16 games? And the other factor is, and it's a little not as big as this one, the Jaguars have their worst travel schedule in the history of their franchise next year. They've got 4 West Coast games plus London. And when the NFL schedule comes out in 2 or 3 weeks, I would hope that the league might do them a solid and put 2 of those West Coast games back to back. Maybe the Jaguars can stay out on the West Coast.
You got a notes column Saturday and a farewell column coming up Sunday, right?
Yep.
All right, some final thoughts with Gene Frenette. In a moment, let's say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
All right, Mia O'Brien here, also on that Jaguar beat, although, Gene's not the Jaguar beat writer. But
listen, I'm a rookie. I haven't earned my stripes yet. I don't know what you're talking about out here.
Other than the infamous turkey, which has been discussed on the program, Mia, is there another, like the blimp or the trash cans? What comes to mind when you think of Gene Frenette and his coverage and his time on the sidelines in many training camps with you?
I know most of our listeners, or rather I did just see because we were just in a multimedia meeting. I know there's about 1,000 or so of you watching right now on Facebook, X, and YouTube. So you haven't even noticed, Mike, what hat I'm sporting right now. That's my answer. Come on now. If you never saw these hats that Michael DeRocco and the Dome Headwear crew put together, yes, you're on mute, Gene. Pretty notorious.
Oh, yes, you're infamous.
Pretty notorious from the 2020
The
season.
Zoom thing. Well, you didn't know how to Google at one point, so I don't expect you to know Zoom right off the bat.
Could you not have brought Lauren Brooks or Taylor Dahl in the air right now?
Who walks through that door, brother? I don't know. Who's going to walk?
I got a text from Mark Long this morning, and he said this needs to be a Gene-a-thon. And I said, well, he's already on Jaguars Today before us. And he said, you need to somehow incorporate him into your show. And so here I am. I will rock the Gene hat today in honor of the columnists impending retirement.
Why am I shocked that Mark Long somehow had a little bit of a hand
He actually told me he'll delete all of the 1010 apps and get it off of his program dial if we didn't honor Gene today. And I said, don't worry, the whole 1010XL crew is ready.
All right. What's coming up other than that?
Yes, we are jam-packed today. Malik Zaire unfortunately couldn't join us yesterday to talk Jack Kaiser and some other Notre Dame prospects. He will at 1 o'clock today. Maddie Hudak, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hudak. She's the sideline reporter for Tulane's radio broadcast. She's going to join us at 12:30 to talk Caleb Ransaw.
All right. Have a good show.
Thank you. Salute to the columnists.
Absolutely. Gene, I know you said you don't like the L word, so I won't use it again here. But I think I've read so many of your columns I can't count over the years. And thank you for everything you've done for the city of Jacksonville and the way you've covered it and done it, as above board without, I don't think, any kind of agendas or anything like that. And I think Jacksonville is better for having had you here for the last 4.5 decades. So,
well, I certainly appreciate that. And as I expressed to you and Tony earlier, I think the on-air chemistry that you guys have is as good as I've ever seen in my time in Jacksonville.
And that's the funny thing. We hate each other, which is the funny thing about it. So I love Tony. Gene, thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
Sharing some time with us here. You ink-stained wretch, you. And hopefully we will see you around. Even if you're not in an official capacity, I hope you have some kind of emeritus training camp sideline status so you can roll in and take a random photo and regale us with it on social media, my man.
Well, whenever the blimp comes through Jacksonville again, I'll make sure to be there.
Yeah, take a picture of not that. Post it. Gene, all the best, man. Enjoy retirement. Well-deserved.
Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks, Tony.
All right. Gene Frenette of the Florida Times-Union. Tony has a lot of fun.
It was.
Thanks for Gene coming in tomorrow. Tony Pauline will join us. A little post-draft analysis there. For Tony, for Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows